I've climbed Mount Fuji. I've seen Mount Kilimanjaro. Um, so there's a lot of things that I would never have been able to do if it wasn't for the military. And I do believe that it gives you a more insight in what the world outside the United States is. It's a lot different, especially being young females. A lot of people believe that that's a bad thing, and you wouldn't get the respect as either your father or myself would, just walking down the street. And it's wrong, and we're lucky to live in a place where we respect each other as much as we do.
What's the worst thing you think you've seen in your time serving?
The worst thing would be the improper disposal of bodies. When they stack up and they just kind of throw them off to the side and into the ocean, as the scene I was picturing earlier with the nice beaches and the stucco homes, and then you turn the corner and it was the multiple upon multiple bodies that they were just throwing into the ocean.
Okay. Do you know when the Somalian War ended and who and why they ended it?
I do believe it ended soon after the United States left. Okay. And that was 1994, I believe it was. And it wasn't so much us leaving as it was a new government being installed. As I said before, the president, who was a former Marine, was put in charge of the head clan, if you call it that. And for the most part, it was becoming a little more stable.
Did you know the president? The now president?
Personally, no, I never talked. I knew he was there. I knew he was actually one of us, and that if we needed an interpreter, we could go and ask him and have him come on patrols with us.
Okay. Do you know what happened to the overall leader of Somalia?
He died of a heart attack.
Okay. When you first got back to the U.S., what did you want to do?
When I first got back, it was 4th of July weekend. I think I went right to McDonald's. I believe.
Good choice. If you ever did go back to Somalia, would you visit the places you fought at?
Oh, I'm sure I would. And I'm very interested in history myself. And no matter where I was in the world, I always visited the places that former or where battles occurred, either in ancient times or in somewhat modern times, whether it be World War II or World War I. Yes.
What was the biggest life lesson you think you learned?
Probably not to be so naive. That there are people out there that don't like you because of you're an American.
Did that ever hit you, or when did that hit you?
That hit me in Somalia, yes.
In Somalia?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that you really, just wish you hadn't seen or hadn't been there for?
No. I think that everything that you see and hear and all the life lessons that you learn mold you into the person you're going to be. And for me, I think it turned out all right.
Okay. What do you think of the movies about Somalia, like Black Hawk Down, and do you think that captures what it was like? The
scenery was great. As far as the especially in the movie Black Hawk Down, where you had the U.S. Army Rangers who were doing military operations or conducting operations in Somalia at the time. I don't know. It wasn't my experience. It may have been theirs. I did like, especially in that movie, where the streets and the crowds, and it really showed kind of what the picture was, and they kind of got it right. As far as the attitude and the super action and the craziness. I think they went a little over the top with that, but Hollywood does do that.
How did your experience differ from the movie?
Mine was a lot different. Being with the howitzers, we didn't do many active patrols inside the city. We were more of a defense-based, where we had 3 big guns in the airport where I was, and then we had another 3 guns at the seaport. So we were kind of covering each other, if you can imagine that, where we shoot across or if needed. We never had to.
Was the fighting on like a daily basis, or was it?
Yes, unless you call it more of a skirmish. There were many times where there wasn't a military, so to speak, that was against you. It was those guys with the guns over there decided that it was 3 o'clock and they were going to shoot. When that happened, the guys over on the other side of the street said, "Are they shooting at us? We don't know, so we're going to shoot." And so then we had a multinational peacekeeping force there, with Germany, Romania, the Norwegians, the Egyptians, and it was funny to see when the United States Marines landed that everybody decided to become a tough guy. Everybody was tougher than everybody else. So when things like that happened, you really didn't know who was shooting at you, because everybody started shooting at that point. It was pretty fun to watch.
Did the groups have different names?
I believe they did. I didn't get that far involved into it.
What do you think of the war that's going on right now?
Which one? There's 2.
The Afghanistan.
Iraq and Afghanistan. Well, Afghanistan, I believe, is probably the more important of the 2. Unfortunately, America has forgotten how to fight and win wars. During World War II, when we talked to grandparents, I know my grandfather was there. I'm sure yours was. Everybody was involved during World War II. There were no constraints put on the American military as there are today. They would bomb cities and wipe them off the map if need be, without question. It was a military operation, and the militaries did what they supposed was the right thing, which is to save their men's lives or their men's lives and to kill the enemy. Unfortunately, today we have a lot more rules, regulations, and red tape to go through before we can do that. If we did that today, the entire world would be in an uproar. America has the best military in the world. As I was saying, they forgot how to win. For some reason, America thinks that we can go over to Iraq, take out their government, and then teach them a new way of governing. Well, it's not going to happen overnight. As we saw in Vietnam, which supposedly was a war we lost, but yet if you go to South Vietnam today or North Vietnam, you can find a McDonald's in Vietnam. Did we lose? I don't believe so. I believe that the different forms of government between capitalism and communism, or being what's it called, the Muslim religion, when they are in charge, there's different rules, and trying to force your own way onto another person is not going to happen overnight.
Why do you think that you chose the Marines over maybe the Navy or the Army?
Well, I wanted to be the best, and that's exactly what it was.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for today. But thank you for sharing your stories and your memories.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, lady.
Yeah.